What is going on, Dolphins fans? Justin Fields to the Miami Dolphins. Speculatory. Rumors be a spinning. Nonsense continues. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. Pros, cons, if any. This is a topic weaving its way on the streets. We're going to talk about all of it, guys. Make sure on the way in you're hitting the like button, subscribing if you are new, and all that good stuff.
Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30. This is the dynamic Hill. He's in for 6. Tyreek Hill. Touchdown.
Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder, and f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off, it's these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve it now. It's only worth it if you work for it.
So, Justin Fields being linked to the Dolphins as well as several other teams. Feelers are being put out there. Bears talked a lot about, they're not going to trade him, not going to trade him. But that we knew they were picking a quarterback, and rightfully so. Fields has not been successful as a member of the Bears. Hasn't. But there has been teams as of recent rumored to be linked to the trade talks. I know the Raiders was one of them. Hold on, I had it written down somewhere. I also heard the Cardinals are looking into it. Which, whatever, I don't know, the Cardinals organization does whatever it wants, apparently. It's the weirdest organization I've ever seen. They'll be like a team that doesn't have a fan base and has no real direction, and you'll turn around and they're winning every single football game. And then they win a Super Bowl, and then they just die off again. It's weird franchise. Let's see if I can find that. Anyhow, whatever. So it's an odd thing to think Justin Fields, like, what are we really getting? I mean, this guy has not been successful in the NFL. I don't think he's thrown for 2,600 yards in a season. He's injured. Let's call it for what it is. He only played 12 games his rookie season. He played 15 games last year, and 2 years ago, and 13 games this past season. Dude, in his total amount of games being played, he's only got 6,676 passing yards in 3 seasons. That's terrible. That is horrible. I will not disagree that when I look at Justin Fields, there's a lot of what seems to be untapped potential in the guy. And I guess if you're talking about a no-risk, high-reward, or low-risk, because there's no such thing as no risk, but a low-risk, high-reward in a trade for Justin Fields, then, I mean, if it's a low-risk, high-reward type of trade scenario, then what's it going to hurt, right? Like, I don't know, to let this guy go for like a 3rd-round pick or a future 2nd-round pick, right? I don't know. And I understand that there's what would be fair value. I would say, I mean, okay, look, if you were to trade for him, I'm pretty sure you're going to carry the final year of his contract, which is going to cost $6 million to the cap. And I think, depending on when this trade is made for Fields, whoever gets him has the control for the 5th-year option. So really, you kind of get a quarterback that may or may not be something for 1 year at $6 million, and then maybe you tell him to piss off. Or if something happens, you get to have him for a 5th-year option, right? If it's a low risk, I mean, I guess you have to weigh kind of the options of what benefits the Miami Dolphins, right? To me, there is still question marks about Tua Tagovailoa, not just, him winning the big games and stuff like that. But yeah, okay, he played uninjured all year, correct? But he also had the quickest release time, and if you want to be fair, he has a lot to do with that short time in the pocket because he's getting it away so often. If he were to try to extend plays, which is something I believe he needs to do to win some of these big games, that in turn is going to create more hits. If it's going to get more hits on Tua, he's going to have a higher propensity to be injured. Took the least amount of sacks this year than he has all his career as far as percentage goes, and he had a relatively completely healthy season because of it. If he's going to then try to be a little bit more dynamic with his throws by sitting into the pocket a little longer and taking bigger shots, or trying to be more dynamic by flushing out of the pocket and running with the ball, in which case he'll take more shots there. Then, and that's something that personally I think is the only piece missing in his game, but I understand why it's not there. You can't really win games if your quarterback's injured, but you can't really win the game if you're not going to put it all on the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a fine line here. I don't want Tua to get injured. I don't want anyone to get injured, but I want to win this game at the same time. And I want to win the big games. And really, it's going to come down to what that guy's going to do. And, I understand that. So if we're taking into consideration the body of Tua's work, he has had injuries, all different kinds, not just the concussions, not just the fingers and the knees and the ankles and the stuff like that and the hips. He's got a lot, okay? So if they were going to bring the guy in like a Fields on some weird trade scenario, then all right, whatever. And let's not try to act like, I think everybody, when they look at Fields, right, he has zero rhythm. He has what seems to be no understanding of concepts of route trees or nothing. And I'm wondering, he has God-given talent. Let's call it like it is. Buddy's got a freaking arm on him. He can run like nobody's business. He has dynamics to him in his game. I just wonder if, a guy like Mike McDaniel and this offensive coaching staff, if they couldn't really, coach the guy up, right? If they really couldn't coach the guy up. And to me, this needs to be another consideration, Dolphins fans, because I know why a lot of Dolphins fans are like, oh, no, we're not getting Fields. Your Tua Tagovailoa vagina is showing. Zip your skirt up, baby, because we get it. He's not coming in and taking Tua's job. I don't think there's anybody that's going to be able to come in and take Tua's job. And really, anytime someone has some form of recognizable name, the Tua vag shows, and they get all, their monkey gets hurt, right? Relax, okay? Relax. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Okay? You can relax. If Fields takes Tua's job, then Tua never had the job. All right? So don't worry. If Fields comes here, it's not to take Tua's job. It's not. There's not going to be a quarterback, open competition. It's just not. Dolphins don't ever do an open competition, first of all. That's just not how they roll. But contingency plan, and we've seen plenty of organizations that, upon injuries, stick to the contingency plan, right? We've seen franchises go to the contingency plan and go back to the original. But pigeonholing yourself into one scenarioed option with a quarterback that, I'm sorry, you can look over his past 4 years. He's had some injuries. then you're just doing your franchise and your fandom a disservice. What are you so scared of, Dolphins fans? You're scared of Justin Fields, a guy who Tua is shy of like last season, right? Tua's last season stats is shy like about 1,000 yards from all of Justin Fields' passing stats. Tua almost hit his entire career stats in 1 year. So relax, people. Fields ain't taking nobody's job. But I also got to think, this is how we need, to me, and this is how good franchises and good organizations work, especially when you're going to play into our strength, right? To me, now I can't call the defense a strength, especially when I think about player development or scheme installation, and for what I can bank as a future on for my organization to have a culture, correct? I look at this offense, on the other hand, and I am seeing an offensive line that's improved, a running game that's improved, a passing game that's improved from year 1 to year 2, with coaching that seems to be working, right? We are developing players here in Miami on the offensive side of the ball. I can't say that on the defense because we are now changing defensive coordinators for the 3rd time. I still think we'll be a 3-4 offense hybrid, but I don't know what it's going to be. We'll go on to that a little bit later maybe, or another episode. But my point of the matter is that this player development, right, is something we need to start utilizing, because I believe this offense, this scheme, this quarterback-friendly system with these weapons and this blocking and this running and this play action and reading and route trees and stuff like that, this is how you take subpar guys and make them look really good, correct? Or you coach guys up and trade them, right? That's what you do. You trade them. You take a Justin Fields and, in limited action and in the preseason and on his 5th-year option next year, the following year's preseason, he's lighting up the skies. You trade that dude for a freaking first-round pick or something stupid. You don't know. The 49ers did it. Hello. 49ers traded. What did they trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? I know that the Patriots got a nice pick out of the whole situation. I want to say it was a 2nd round and change. I want to say the equivalent was of a 1st round pick. And Jimmy Garoppolo was a mid-rounder, but was coached up in this system that then they installed over there, and they used him forever. Fuck, the guy was still playing this year. I'm just saying, right? With the system that the Dolphins are running and the offensive coaching staff that they possess, there's no reason to think that Justin Fields wouldn't be coached and be a more effective quarterback, something we could either utilize the value for via it being on our team and as the scout team as well. God, could you imagine? I know right now we're using Skylar Thompson as the scout team for Josh Allen, but let's kind of be real. If we were using Justin Fields as the scout team guy, that'd be a little bit more, especially with the interceptions. Ha! Bazing, got you, you fucking Bills fucks. Anyhow, sorry. Just consideration, all right? Man, I had to throw that zinger. I mean, look, how long do we have Mike White for? I think it's kind of an option situation on this contract with him right now. And listen, we're talking about semantics. You're going to have to carry $6 million with the Justin Fields trade. But that kind of comes as almost a gimme if Tua is extended. You feel me? Now, there is something to be said about the money that would be spent. There is something to be said that, yeah, the Dolphins, along with giving up a what's that hooked up, Joe? $3.5 million cap savings to cut White. Yeah, no, White's a goner. he's either a goner or he's a give me money back guy. Everybody's getting shook down this year or restructured. If you're not needed on this football team, you're getting shook down or cut. That's just how it goes. Now, if you want to be here, Mike White, you like being home in Miami, I'm sure he would like to stay with the Dolphins, but if someone's going to offer him more money, he's going to go there. So that's just how it is. Everybody getting shut down this year. Yeah. Now, Fields, $6 million. Dolphins are like, look, we're not giving you a third and a fifth this year. We're not giving you our third round pick and our fifth round and gonna pay $6 million for Justin Fields. Well, I'm positive there's a way in which the Bears, who have a assload of cap, could eat most, if not all, the money and just offload him, which that might be a situation that they'll find themselves in if nobody wants the guy. Which, wow, what a far cry for the poor dude, right? We're talking about a guy who looked, in some games, the guy has looked phenomenal. In other games, you're like, this guy is terrible. Anytime he's trying to play quarterback, he looks terrible. He really should be, like I don't know, not a quarterback. But, something else that I think about is this was the same deal about RG3. And we've seen what Mike McDaniel did with that. So, and not for nothing, dude. Imagine if you just used a guy like Justin Fields as an implemented tool on the offense, like a Taysom Hill. That would be cool, right? Just have him out there in a split back system with Tua, and then they snap the ball directly to Fields, pitches it out to Tua, who's got space in between him, and heaves it across his body to somebody else on the other side of the field. That would be awesome. But I don't care, right? Fuck Fields. Because really, to me, trading a pick away, especially a pick this year, we got to replenish the ranks, is what it is. And the $6 million you potentially could carry, where I'm pretty sure there's going to be another team that capers up for the trade amount and the money amount for the Bears. That's not going to be the Dolphins. Not saying that if the Dolphins find themselves one of the only final people where a little bit of something, little extra cheese on top might, get a deal done. They'll take the talent. They're not stupid, right? They're not dumb. But to me, if there was going to bring in, I think clear out the quarterback room. Maybe you can keep Skyler because he's still under his rookie deal and doesn't cost you nothing. I don't think. I mean, listen, I'm indifferent to Mike White, but I don't feel confident that in a hold it down scenario with the teams I'm looking at in the AFC, especially getting healthy this year, that Mike White's going to do what Tua can do for me. I just don't see that. And we still need to make sure to – now, I see Howell come up a lot, right? Everyone's saying Howell. I don't think Howell's going to be as cheap as y'all think. I don't. I think guys like Howell, guys like Baker Mayfield, these dudes are always going to make a decent amount of money, and they're always going to play on teams, and they're going to play good football. They're never going to get anywhere far, but they're never going to be the shitty guy at the same time. They're going to have great games, middling games, and whatever. To me, the diamond in the rough right now, the guy that if the Dolphins were going to bring in as a backup, contingency plan, whatever you want, and this guy you might be able to get for a price that's super, not just affordable, but manageable, right? But this guy, you don't have to trade for. You can just sign. And it gives you options in both directions. So if you extend Tua, which is what's probably going to happen, right? This guy would be a good backup to have for the long term. Because you're going to need a backup guy that can hang in the long term, that you feel confident in, because this is the quarterback. Whether he goes down or not, I need to stay competitive, because when we come back, we're competing when Tua gets back. Season's never washed, because once Tua's in there playing franchise quarterback, I don't care if he only played 10 games this year, we're trying to win. I only needed my backup to win one game. My franchise guy is going to win the rest, right? That's how good teams think and act and put together their football team. That's a fact. So who was a good guy to back up like that? Someone to hold down. Someone that isn't going to cost a lot. I know who I have in mind. Wilson. You've got my guy, dude. That's who I'm thinking. I've been crowing. This Jake Browning guy, y'all. Jake Browning. Forget Justin Fields. Forget Justin Fields and trading a pick away. I don't care if it's a future second or not. I want all my picks. We'll trade away the future firsts and seconds like the Heat do once we're already getting there. We'll play the Heat game when we get there. Justin Fields, maybe there's something away. Maybe something in the rock I can chisel away a great piece of art. But to me, Jake Browning is plug and play, dog. Here's a guy who it's in his third season in the NFL, hasn't got any time. Now, when I say third season in the NFL, this dude bounced around everywhere. He couldn't get on a roster, couldn't get on a practice squad, couldn't get on nothing. And this year, because of an immense amount of injuries striking the Cincinnati Bengals, he was able to actually get some playing time. And now when we were talking Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields in his rookie season, he had like just under 1,900 yards in 12 games. Jake Browning this year in 5 games, okay, had almost 2,000 yards. He had over 1,900. So this guy, and I don't care who you are, like, they got talent, right? They got talent on Cincinnati. I got you. But if you watched any of those Cincinnati games, I mean, all of them, Buddy played pretty lights out across the board. Yeah, some games he had more interceptions, but he had more yards and more attempts and stuff like that. So I'll just go through it real quick. His first game he played, he went 18 for 24 for 158 yards, 75% completion percentage. He had 3 touchdowns and 1 interceptions in that game. And that was against the Browns, which they won. The next game they lost against the Chiefs. He did not have that great of a showing. He only had 1 touchdown. The game against Pittsburgh, that was his worst game. He got chewed up, but, that's a rival game. He threw the ball 42 times. They didn't care that. It was funny when you were watching Jake Browning, right? You were like, they didn't care that Joe Burrow was down. They were still going to throw the ball 30, 40 times a game. They didn't give a damn. And those last 2 games of the year that they won against Minnesota and Indianapolis, he was just lights out, bro. He was just it was good. It was a guy you seen get better, right? And you knew you could see the professional football player in a guy like Jake Browning. And when I think, hey, this guy's a free agent, you could sign him up. You could sign him to, some kind of contract that's worth it to him. And Mike McDaniel in this scheme and system might be able to, find a really good football player out of this guy. And if that's the case, all the more bully to us. If Tua does go down, we have a guy capable of, completing the task at hand on a week in and week out basis until Tua comes back. Now, if Tua does not get extended, and the Dolphins say, look, we need to see it one more year, and that's everything, and we need to see just a little bit more before we hand you the keys to the Miami Kingdom, then Jake Browning would have any, Tua slips up and gets injured or, doesn't perform or whatever and can't keep, I don't know. I don't foresee that, but I'm just saying that if that's the case, that could happen. So, I don't know. I know there's other names Dolphins fans want to throw into the mix, but I think you guys are just capping, really. Like the Kirk Cousins of the world. That guy ain't, Why don't we go get Cam Newton? He's crowing about wanting to play football every time I turn around. Every time I freaking look somewhere, Cam Newton's talking about wanting to play football. He's just stop, dog. Like, let it go, dog. You got a whole thing cooking. You got that style, them crazy ass hats. You're all over on the friggin' famous talk shows and podcasts everywhere. Like, you made some good bread. I like the fact that he's still a competitor, but, like, chillax. And, I mean, listen, if you were going to put him up to most college guys, he still would smoke all of them. But he knows just as much as anybody when you're at the top of your game and these young guys at the top of their game, like that guy was unfucking stoppable for those 2 years he was doing it when he was fucking doing the Superman thing. The whole freaking world hated that guy. I hated him, bro. I hated him when he was doing that shit. He wasn't even in my division, and we didn't even really play him that much. I just hated him. But that's, you need villains like that. Good for him. But, oh, you can see Cousins in Miami, yeah, or Atlanta. Yeah, I could see that too. That's kind of their deal. So, yeah, I'm not interested in hearing the Kirk Cousins has always gotten paid a shit ton of money for a whole lot of nothing, right? Like, I get it. Kirk Cousins been good, got the numbers, got this, got that, but he's like a fucking Carson Palmer right now. Carson Palmer would do that and then get injured. Like, he's one rock away from being the friggin' Carson Palmer. Like, and again, like here's the thing I worry about, guys, Dolphins fans. God, I already know what's gonna happen right now. Here comes El Capitan shitting on Tua. That's what I'm gonna get. This is me gonna shit all over Tua apparently, because I'm gonna talk about a bunch of people that you guys would say are bums, and I'm gonna put Tua in that conversation. What I'm worried about, right? About us paying Tua Tagovailoa, us going there, making him. We're gonna wife it up, right? We gonna settle down and have a family now. Now I gotta live with it. And what am I living with? Am I living with Kirk Cousins? Am I living with, Andy Dalton? Am I living with Dak Prescott? Am I living with Carson Palmer? Which, to Carson Palmer's credit, he got to the big game. And y'all Tua fans can shit all you want on Jared Goff. That man's done plenty of winning in the postseason and has gotten to a Super Bowl. Let Tua do a Jared Goff type of fucking run, and then I'll worry about shitting on Jared Goff. Right? I don't need nobody. No Tua nears need to be shitting on Jared Goff. These are the questions I got to worry about. Because here's what I know for a fact. If we're going to pay him now, right? We're going to pay him now. If he gives us nothing more than he's given us now, that's what we deserve, because that's what we bought. That's what we paid for. Why would it be any different? We're paying because we want more? No. You don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you've done. And what we've done is lose in the playoffs. First round. Haven't won the division. A couple times now. For a while. Since Tua's been on the team, we could talk about coaches and this and that. And we can hopefully project for it to be different. But we're paying. It's going to cost the bread. So what are we buying? Are we buying Andy Dalton? Are we buying Carson Wentz? Well, fuck, Carson Wentz even had. I don't know. I wouldn't say Carson Wentz. Carson Palmer? Is this a Kirk Cousins? Because I can't. When's Kirk Cousins won a big game? Well, I can remember him, that freaking Minnesota Miracle game or whatever the hell it was. Diggs had that big catch. That was cool. I mean, there's plenty of these guys. Daniel Jones. Oh, man, nah. Tua's better than Daniel Jones. But I'm talking about guys who competed for years and, had some years where they were the best in their, certain respective categories and stuff like that, but never found any. Are we getting? Is this Phillip Rivers? We getting Phillip Rivers? Love Phillip Rivers. Love the guy. I understood why he just kept sticking around with the Chargers there. I got it. Kind of wonder, though, if Antonio Gates and LaDainian Tomlinson were on some of these other teams, would they have just smoked everybody? I know Phillip Rivers was good as hell, though, but was he really that good? I don't know. It's hard to say. If he was so good, he should have won. And when people go, well, it's a team game. It's a team game. You got to, win as a team. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but Patrick Mahomes don't give a fuck. And until you got a way to beat guys like that, and it doesn't come by having the best defense, it comes by being able to score more points in today's day and age. It used to be best defense, you grind out, you don't let that running back go off on you. You don't let that quarterback sit back there and launch bombs. Whatever it was. Now it's different. The way the game is called and played, it's different now. You can, you gotta score more points, homie. And it ain't by running. It's by chucking that rock. And just so you guys understand how the NFL and its tournament style works, the best teams end up at the end. That's why there's a playoff bracket. So if this division sucks, right, like the AFC South is terrible, the guy who wins that division, or the team that wins that division, probably is the best team at scoring in the air with the best quarterback, typically. It's not every year. But look at the AFC South. Jaguars were good the following year, but with an injured Trevor Lawrence and that rookie C.J. Stroud, they were cooking it in the air most of the year. That's why they won, and then won in the playoffs. So, I digress. Right? Think about it. The teams you don't beat the Chiefs with a best defense. You beat them by outscoring them. And now that's why the Chiefs are so good right now. They got one of the best scoring defenses. But the reality is that defense is able to tee off on you and rush the passer because you have to compete with Patrick Mahomes. See, it's a team game, but it's a lot easier of a team game when you have a guy who is throwing the ball in an elite way. So you have to ask yourself, what's the best way to build a football team? Well, the best way I would deduce is an elite thrower of the football. And if you start with that, it's the hardest thing to find. Let's call it for what it is. I get it's a game at the end of the day, but if you don't have that elite thrower of the football, you should be trying to find that. Always. This is no shade on anyone else, all the way from Tua to Brock Purdy to everyone else. And shit, Brock Purdy might win the Super Bowl, in which case, good for you guys. But, this is, 6 straight AFC championship games or Super Bowls or something like that for the Chiefs. Something ridiculous. They're on a mad tear. And it's not because of Taylor Swift. I don't care what anybody says. Well, yeah, I know X Factor. I'm not saying Purdy's good or not good. And I know you are. I know you keep it fucking legit, X Factor. But, look, Purdy's good, right? But he ain't no Patrick Mahomes. And that's pretty much it. And it's weird. Like, you'll see these guys have these freak seasons. He'll be like, wow, this dude is lighting it up. And then they don't do it again. Or they do it, they'll light it up here and there. Patrick Mahomes, week in and week out. That's the thing, the consistency. And I think that's what, a lot of offensive-minded coaches really just err upon. They're like, look, Do I want a Patrick Mahomes? Who the hell wouldn't? But what's more realistic? Can I find a guy that I can get consistent play out of? Even if if it was even a D minus in play, but it was always a D minus. Then there's a way in which I can scheme around there. And case in point, right? We would say like a C minus. Tannehill. That man would air one out every now and again. Put one on a rope, some post pattern he'd hit on stride and be like, damn, this guy's good. But then he'd sit back there and get his head clobbered in and drop the football. So you scheme around it. You become a way to be, very competitive. And, you hope to win and get in the dance and win it. I guess that's kind of, unless you've got a Patrick Mahomes, that's really what you're trying to do, is just get lucky enough to win it. Put together a good enough team in a cap type of way where you've manipulated to have X amount of talent to win it, like the Niners are hopefully going to do, or, whatever. And I guess that's really the weird thing to me, because for so long there, as a Dolphins fan, forever, all the way up until Tannehill, and then after Tannehill, we were supposed to be back on track. But Dolphins fans unanimously were like, we need to find another Dan Marino. That was the plan. It wasn't which coach to make this guy into our franchise quarterback. It wasn't this guy, let's see if we can bring him in. Can this stopgap guy help us build a good team? That wasn't what we decided as Dolphins fans. It was like, fuck this. It don't matter if we don't have Dan 2.0. That was the plan. That was the jump. That was what we wanted. And when we got Tannehill, they were like, oh, yeah, this is it. We're like, okay, all right. Well, okay. Guy was a wide receiver. All right. Whoa, look at his fucking old lady smoking. Must got something going on, right? Dude was a wide receiver. Got a hot old lady. He's got a rope. He can sling it. Kind of a fucking doofus, but hey, I can work with that. I mean, he's not an idiot. The guy was, I think he's fucking like some kind of fucking scientist or some shit. But yeah, didn't work out, and they were like, "Oh, we'll get another guy, right? We're working on the Miami culture." I was like, "Whoa, Miami culture? Yeah, we have culture. It's called winning. It's called setting the bar. That's our culture. We need to find that guy that sets the bar." Like, no, we're gonna set the bar as an organization. We're gonna set the bar as a people, as a culture. And I'm like, okay. I rock with some shit like that. You're right. We are fucking cooler than everybody else. So yeah, I'm down. And then things kind of changed. And I was like, wait, we kind of got off script here. We're so busy trying, and I've said this before, right? I get how hard it is to find the Patrick Mahomes, the Dan Marino, the elite players of the generation. They're hard to find. But what do you think is harder to do? Find one of those guys, or build a team of fucking 50-something guys to then win a Super Bowl? Because to me, like I just said, how the Chiefs are proving with proper coaching, scheming, with cap manipulation, all that stuff, draft, they're doing it all. But it all works because they got a cheat code in an elite passer in a game, in a time, in an era where passing the football is skewed in every which way. So, I don't know. Call me a hater. I don't care. Maybe Tua should start dating Taylor Swift and we'd win the Super Bowl too. Man, could you imagine? Tua would never. But if he did, Tua come out. He got them cornrows in his hair, got gold teeth. Taylor's holding like 3 babies. He's like, yeah, I got 2 wives now. Deal with it. I got 2 wives now. Fuck off. That would be cool. That would be the most legit shit he's ever done. If he came out with Taylor Swift, had a couple of his kids, and he showed up and was like, I got 2 wives now. Deal with it. And told everybody to fuck off. That would be the dopest shit of all time. Oh, man. Ugh. But anyhow, I just got off the rails with that one. Well, that's all I got, guys. I just want to come up here for a little bit. Steve TV. Listen, man, they start all over the damn place. There's people connecting it. There's a reason why everybody's talking about it, Steve, because I know X Factor. I'm off one. Just putting my 2 cents in. I haven't heard anything on my end about the Dolphins with any legitimate interests from people that I would reach out to and trust. And believe me, if they were interested in getting Justin Fields, they would have let me know. I think it's all smoke and mirrors, but it is something that a lot of people are talking about. You can see it on other websites and bullshit and things like that. But yep. All right, guys, on your way out, make sure you guys are hitting the like button, subscribing if you are new, and make sure to leave a comment at the end of the video in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about Justin Fields, potentially a trade thing. I don't think it's worth even discussing, but is there other people that you would like to see the Dolphins take an interest in as a potential backup to Tua if things go awry and we need someone to hold down the fort? My vote goes to Jake Browning. I'll see you guys next time. Fins up.